Welcome to the Pool Nation podcast, where it's all pool talk. And we ain't talking about netting and jetting or splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. We talk about the latest products, trends, and training in the pool industry. Now let's welcome your host, with over a decade of industry insider experience and still the reigning champion of Marco Polo, Edgar de Jesus, and his co-host, John J.J. Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and Zach the Pool Boy Nicholas.
Pool people, welcome to the Pool Nation podcast.
I am the reigning champion of Marco Polo, along with John J.J. Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and the famous Zach, the Pool Boy Nicholas. Today we are in studio, and guess who's back?
I'm here again. Wait, guess who's back again? Yeah.
I was talking about Spider.
Spider's always here. He lives here.
Spider was gone last week.
I was gone.
So that's
okay.
I
broke my heart.
rolled that whole thing out right there. Spider, I was trying to hook you up and almost like a drum roll, and then Alicia stole the spotlight.
I'm heartbroken over here, Edgar.
She likes being back too, though.
Yeah,
right?
I thought you were excited to see me, but whatever. Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Gladly.
So what's that, Spider?
I said I will gladly defer to Alicia anytime.
And there you go. Absolutely. Anyways, we are back in studio with the Cannonball King himself,
We've been practicing.
Mr. Spider. We're a little bit out of practice, but it's because he had a vacation and we needed him to
He probably
enjoy the vacation and that kind of stuff.
And then I walked out the door this morning, immediately got stung in the face.
So how is your face looking?
No worse than it was before.
So you know what you're supposed to do? They say that what you're supposed to do is find somebody, and in this case, they would have had to suck on your face to suck the venom out.
So many comments that I'm filtering out right now. Like so.
Just right off the top.
Yeah, just filter's still working. You're going to have to give me a minute.
I haven't even talked about who's on the podcast, and she's already vetoing what I'm saying. Like,
I'm new here, but I'm not volunteering.
Anyways, everybody, we are talking to Alicia Stephens and Rick Harvey with BioLab, and Rick Harvey is Steve Harvey's brother.
Yeah.
And the big question is, did he do it, right, with all the stuff?
I guess time will tell.
Question is, does anybody know where Rick Harvey is? I know you won't give up the information, but...
Wait.
You mean Steve Harvey?
I'm sorry, Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey. Is he in hiding?
I don't know.
Because
I don't talk to him on a regular basis. So.
DiCaprio is out of the country,
he is,
right?
Yeah,
he's kind of
not
hiding.
coming back.
And everybody, all these famous people are really low-key, kind of, you know, so...
Probably in his house in Buckhead instead of out in L.A.
Probably, yeah.
So, anyways, Rick got the good looks, and Steve got the fame. But I'm not sure you would trade that right now for anything.
Not right now,
no,
for
not
sure.
right now, right?
No, I'll keep, I guess, my looks, and we'll go with that.
You'll keep your low profile.
I'll keep my low profile good looks, yeah.
Now, the question is, did your brother ever invite you to a Diddy party?
No.
No.
Be very clear. I want to put that out there publicly. I've never been to a Diddy party.
I can confirm that I have
Did he go? No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. There you go. Yeah, no.
Oh, we were just joking around, having a good time with that. And obviously, Johnson & Johnson is no longer a sponsor of the podcast.
Well, their stock prices dropping
Their stock prices are down, Zach.
Yeah.
They called me today and they're like, hey, we can't sponsor the podcast anymore because our forecast for baby oil is down for the next, couple years.
Less volume,
Yeah, less volume. But anyways, I want to welcome everyone to our live podcast, a podcast where it's all pool talk. And we ain't talking about netting and jetting or splashing and dashing. We're talking about
pools.
Becoming a nation of pool pros. And yes, we will talk about the latest
pools,
products, trends, and training in the pool industry. But before we get started today, I want to thank our visionary partners for this podcast, the SPPA, Blu-ray, Aquastar Pool Products,
BioLab Incorporated in Natural Chemistry,
Raypack, Heritage Pool Supply, Hayward Pool Products, Poolside Tech, Pool Brain, and Nidec. We want to thank them for their continued support. Mr. Zacharias, we have you back over there in the corner in a timeout. How you doing?
I'm good. We just went into the first day of summer break. So school is officially over. So it seems very calm at this moment, but
that can change in a flash.
Yeah. I'm like looking around to see where they're all at and where they're going to come out from, but got it under control right now. So it's going to be a long summer for the next few months. We're ramping up here with pools, and then I got the chaos crew now 24/7. So
I will tell you this, enjoy it, because I was an empty nester this year, and I've talked about this 1,000 times, but I really struggled when everybody was gone and the house was quiet. And it's funny enough, I was watching a TikTok that said something to the effect of, don't stress about having a dirty car and a dirty house and blah, 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 because there come a time where you'll miss those people that did that. And so then both of my daughters come back home, and then they had friends come over, and Zach was over at the house. So I had every room, some of the rooms with 2 people in them, and I was excited about it. Mr. Zacharias, enjoy it, my friend, because I know it seems chaotic. I know it seems like it's not going to come to an end, but it doesn't. It sucks. And you too, Steve. I'm now going to call you Steve
this entire podcast
because I want to get the dirt. But Rick, I know that you got girls. They play softball. Just enjoy every moment. I even went up to Sienna's room last night because she was upstairs and I hadn't seen her all day. I go up and I scared her, and she's like, "Why are you coming to bug me?" I'm like, "Oh, you're home. I'm going to see you every day because then you're going to go back to school."
Got to bank it up.
I got to bank it up. So I did try to pull a fast one on her, but it didn't work. I tried to do that TikTok where they have the Apple sound and you put it over their phone and it sounds like it takes money from them.
Yep.
And I did that to my wife, and my wife was like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Well, it doesn't matter. It's the same account, so you can clean it as many times as you want." She's like, "Whatever."
Yeah.
And then I went upstairs to Sienna's room being all funny, and I'm like, "Cling!" And she's like, "I've seen that TikTok." I'm like, "Whatever."
I'm cooler than you
Yeah,
are.
you gotta remember they're ahead of you on that stuff.
Gotta get that. Yeah.
Anyways, Mr. Spider, good morning.
Good morning.
That did
That's
not
it.
sound
That's
very
that's all we got after Good
His
morning.
swollen nose is
Is that
getting
what
in the
it
way.
is?
I think
He
it
gave it up.
is.
He gave that away earlier,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
Can you see the buttons back there?
Yeah.
The buttons are all right?
That's the important thing.
Yeah.
I can do this whole thing by ear. Sorry about the video, though.
Again, it's hard to perform miracles.
I say that even when I haven't been stung on the face by a wasp.
Oh, Alicia. So, Alicia, good morning.
Good morning. What's going on?
Listen, we are excited to have you, and every time you come into town, it's a hoot, it's a ball.
I'm going to give you a chance to talk. I'm like, I'm in. I don't even care who we're talking to. Let's just talk. So
Let's
here I
just talk.
am. Yeah.
And it was funny, Rick, because she was saying, "Oh, it's going to be awkward because I'm just going to sit here in this corner." And you, what did we say?
No. We know that you like to talk and you're good at it. And I figured you could help the flow go well. So it's good. I'd prefer it. Would rather do it with anybody else.
I promise. So it's your show, Rick. I'm just here to add the color commentary today. And, I always have
Basically, she's saying I'm boring. So it's going to she'll add some flavor and flair.
No.
Do you
flavor and flair. I like
You
that.
like that?
That's my style.
Do you want me to tell you the truth?
Yeah, go ahead.
I told her that we were going to have you out, and she said, "I'm going to have to come because I'm worried that he's going to botch the videos and he's going to botch the podcast. So I will coach him through the process so that he doesn't botch it." And she goes, "And I'll sit in the podcast studio over in the corner just to kind of manage."
Coach and manage.
Yeah.
She likes to manage people.
Yeah. and I'll make sure I make a reservation at Whiskey Cake while I'm here.
That was the important part. That was the important part.
Yeah,
So-
there's some important things. She takes care of the details, and that's
details.
why I appreciate it.
No, we're kidding. We're just having a good time
Rick
with
did
Alicia.
it. He absolutely did a great job.
He killed it
yesterday.
yesterday.
It was a lot of fun. I appreciated doing it. I think it was great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information, and we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. But Rick, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. This is great. I appreciate the last couple of days. This has been a good time here in North Texas and spending time with you guys. So looking forward to it.
We've had everything, right? Like the tornado scare that was going to come in the hail, and then it went away. And
I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Did you miss that from Fort Worth?
No, yeah. I'm glad we didn't get any hail. The difference is I'm in a rental car instead of my personal car. So, so that's the difference.
I'm going to be mean. I'm going to say something. So yesterday, if the hail warning was still going to happen, I was going to be like, "Let's go get your car and we'll stick mine under the garage because it's a rental car." And mine can
We would have been fine. With
Yeah, that would have been
That's
fine.
okay,
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we're excited to have you, Rick. Thanks so much for coming out. I know that you did a couple videos. Little does he know what waits for him now with the laundry list of stuff that's coming his way, right?
That's all right.
You opened the floodgate.
Looking forward to it. You guys do it the right way, so I appreciate that.
We appreciate it. So, hey, we want to get a couple housekeeping notes before we get started here. We have a couple different things. Nominations for the Pool Nation Awards, believe it or not, are about 3 weeks away because this year the show is in October, so we have to push everything up. Yours truly is going to help us do the nomination night for the women because it's going to be nomination women event, women only, no guys there. So that'll be on the 20th of August.
Can we hang a sign on the door that says "No boys allowed"?
Well, the problem is I have to help you manage the cameras, and so I have to make you look good. So maybe you can give me a badge that says "exclude allowed."
Okay, Edgar allowed.
Yeah, and then Spider maybe there or Michael.
Yeah, that's
So-
fine. That's fine. Well,
so-
a select group, boys.
Spider,
allowed.
can you get your server outfit, you and I we can be servers just so we can be in the room. I think that would be good.
After yesterday, Rick just wants to come to the women's summit and hang
That's
out.
right.
So he's
Sounds like a great
I'll serve the
time.
drinks. I was
Yeah,
like,
serve drinks.
I think all the ladies would agree. If
Put a
you're
little-
serving
little bow
drinks, you
tie.
could come.
Yeah.
Little bow tie on.
And nothing else.
All black.
Well, yeah, I don't know about nothing else. But
Let's not get crazy,
We
Spider.
want people to stay, Spider. So- but anyways, and then from there we have the PSP Expo, and we have the $10,000 Pool Pro Challenge, which will be at the show at our booth.
Yep.
And that is going to be Wednesday and the final on Friday. Thursday night is going to be the Pool Nation Awards. And then on Friday, we start the Pool Nation Conference. Zach, I think we kind of overpacked our PSP Expo the more I hear it. But we're all in. We're all in. But anyways,
it's going to be a whirlwind of the second half of the year.
it is. It really is. So we started crazy. We get a little bit of a break, and then we finish with a bang, right?
Yeah.
So,
You know, I used to say like summer from like our side of the business was when we got to take a breath and take a break because all the professionals are super busy. We get to step back for a minute, and it seems like we never get the break anymore. It's just
No.
like full tilt all the time. You know, I'm waiting for the break.
yeah, those are,
Yeah.
I think.
Those days are
I
gone.
think they are. I think this is the new norm, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Alicia, you are getting a hi, Alicia, from Natalie Hood.
Oh, hello.
So
Yeah.
big shout out to
Yeah.
Natalie out there. So anyways, a couple of things that we have for the Pool Nation Conference. We are going to be doing what we do best, and that's focusing on the business side of it. We've got a couple of classes that we're going to be doing, focusing on the business side. And the first one is going to be turning pools into profits, how to build a business, not just a route. And that's really kind of all the different phases that pool pros go through, and at what stage do they really need to be concerned with certain types of financial knowledge or leadership knowledge or all that kind of stuff. But really kind of trying to get them to be able to maximize everything on their business and on that route and build it into a big enterprise.
Yeah. And then we'll have turn metrics into money, what your financials are telling you. And we talk about it all the time, how important that financial data is and being able to make decisions. So this will just help you understand how to decipher that and how it can empower you to make those good decisions.
Yeah, and the next class that we're going to do is Know Your Costs, Grow Your Profits. And I haven't shared this yet, but we are working on a tool that we're going to put out for all the pool pros. Really what we want them to do is figure out how easy it is to do the math to figure out what's your gross profit, what's your net profit, and all that. And so we are working on a tool that we're going to use in that class where they will be able to grab those numbers, plug it in, and it will be able to spit all that math out for them, kind of really nice and simple so they know exactly where they are.
And then this one I'm excited about. Financial planning and exit strategy, how to build value and prepare for the future. So we really just want to help people understand that you can create a business that runs without you and how you can plan to exit on your own terms. I think a lot of people get to that point where they haven't put a lot of thought into that. And then that day comes faster than expected. And we just want to make sure that you're thinking about it and planning about it.
The next class that we're going to do is Profit is Not Cash, right? And so obviously we are lucky that you guys are probably not because you're on the other side, but the service side, we're a very cash flow happy side of the industry. But we've talked about it, and I steal this one all the time from Hal Denbar, and he said, hey, you can run out of profit once or twice, but you can't run out of cash flow.
Right.
And that's really important in business, and especially for those companies that want to continue to grow. So we're going to do an entire class on really understanding cash flow and how it helps run your business.
And then for day 2, we'll be moving into the talent life cycle, building skills for business success. And it's really just going to be about unlocking the full potential of your team by mastering that talent life cycle. Learn how to build skills at every stage to drive performance, foster growth, create a thriving people-powered organization. Because at the end of the day, we can't grow and scale without people. It's all about your team and being able to do that.
Yeah, and then we're going to roll right into developing high-performing teams. And to a lot of people is, what is a team? What does that look like, right? At what stages should you start to bring on employees? And we talk about the different phases for everybody, especially when they go through that balancing act. They got 80, 90 pools. They're doing everything. And at that stage, they now feel like they need to bring that first person on. But are you ready? Do you even know what it looks like to really have a team? And then how are you going to make sure that they perform at a high level since day number one?
The next class will be the power of partnership, cultivating true collaboration in your team. And it's not just about working together. Collaboration is so much more than that. It's about working smarter together. So in this course, we'll be talking about how to break down silos, enhance that communication, have effective communication. That's a whole different thing. build a culture where people feel open to expressing their ideas and everyone can unite to solve problems, innovate, achieve shared goals. So this is going to really cover some of those practical techniques so that you can turn collaboration into a powerful driver of productivity and success.
Yeah, the next one that we're going to do is dive into time management strategies. And this is one that kind of comes up all the time, something that I've really focused on over the last year and a half. There's just a lot of different strategies to it. And talking about strategy, right, into my time management to make sure that we're constantly focusing on that. An entire class on time management strategies and really how to be able to take control of your day and how to be able to work in your business, but also work on your business and how to separate those from a time management standpoint.
You know, I've always wanted to dig into that and be better at it, but I haven't found the time to do it yet.
I think everybody can do a little bit better at that. So,
if you can find the time to learn about time management.
You just dream about it at night.
Right.
Think about it before you go to bed, dream about it
Put
at
the
night.
book under the pillow,
Yeah.
do it by osmosis. I don't know.
Exactly.
That's funny.
We'll start tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's always tomorrow.
Well, it's a long weekend, so start on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Wait, I'm kind of busy Tuesday, maybe Wednesday.
Tuesday next week, right?
So then we'll talk about driving results through accountability. So how you can hold yourself accountable to taking the time management class and following through with it. But this is just really going to talk about the power of accountability. And once you become a leader, like things start to change. And it is such a difficult thing to transition from not being accountable or holding people accountable into having to do this. So this course will teach you how to set clear expectations, create ownership at all levels, foster a results-driven culture. You'll learn the practical tools and leadership techniques to hold yourself and your team accountable. And this will ultimately unlock higher performance. It'll improve your consistency, and it'll help you create that lasting, successful business.
Hey, Jeanette, good morning. Big shout out to you. Kevin is reminding us that there's 152 days until the PSP Expo.
Because that's not a lot of stress.
Yeah, that's just added another level, right?
Hey, Jeanette. I just want to say hey to Jeanette. I love her.
Absolutely. So the question is, how many days are left till the Women's Summit?
Not enough and way too many.
Take a stab at it. 52?
92. I don't know.
Rick, take a guess. It's August 21st.
August 21st. No, 73.
We're
73.
Math wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
We were 89 days away.
89.
Okay, so
you're pretty close.
Yeah.
So,
But you went over.
So, yeah, you went
So
over. So
I
Rick won by by that.
$1, Bob.
It wasn't $1.
Hey, so talking about the Women's Summit, Alicia, you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, really looking forward to it. We've got a really great lineup this year, and I think the agenda is going to be great. We've got a cool theme going on, and Doreen and I spent some time talking about it yesterday. It's one you don't want to miss. It's filling up fast, so if you haven't signed up, ladies, please get registered for it. But it's going to be 2 days of just a lot of really good content, networking, a lot of fun. Somewhere along the way, I don't remember how it happened, but I agreed to do some comedy in there. So
That's right. Talk about that.
yeah.
Great.
My big BioGuard event this year, one of the things we did, we had a keynote speaker that talked about bucket list items for your life. We all had to write down one thing that was on our lifelong bucket list, and mine was to do stand-up comedy because I've always wanted to do that. And so I wrote it down, and I put it out in the universe, and now I have to do it. I've done a practice run, but this will be my first quote-unquote show. So no better place to do it than the safe space of the ladies of the Women's Summit. Hopefully it'll go well, and ladies, be ready. If you laugh, great, and if you don't, get out.
Now it makes a lot of sense, Rick, because we were talking about the strategy of the comedy show. And I'm like, once we're done, we could go over to the venue and then you can do your comedy. And she's like, no, I think we need to wait about an hour for everybody to eat and that kind of stuff. So they're ready. It makes sense. Now, what she really wants them to do is drink a lot before.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not dumb.
Was that part of the strategy?
Yes, I'm not dumb. The more you drink, the funnier I get. Trust me. Now, I don't know if the more I drink, the funnier I get. I have no idea. But the more you drink,
Well,
the
she'll
funnier
think
I
so.
get. Yeah,
She'll think so no
exactly.
matter what, right?
And then it doesn't matter just what lives in your head. I was funny, period.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
It's
all
just
that
all about what I
matters.
think. No,
Yeah.
but the summit itself, really looking forward to it. Go out there, check it out, and get registered. It's going to be great.
Yeah,
sure.
fortunately,
Good.
yesterday being able to be behind the scenes in the strategy session was great. I'm jealous. I'm like, how do I figure out how to get into this thing, obviously, right? So, I'm willing to be a server. I can serve drinks and appetizers.
Make them strong
just
before the
to-
comedy night,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. I can pre-feed it.
Yeah,
For sure.
It's going to be great. So
Having
looking
him,
forward to it.
Having him as a bartender is a good thing, like double pour into the, you're going to find this funny.
Yeah.
This is going to be really
You
funny.
will
Not
find
funny
this
yet.
one.
Let me help.
Yeah. Are you going to cheer for her or not? That's going to be dependent how much alcohol you get on this drink.
Yeah, there's going to be buzzers on the seats, right?
Yeah,
so if they don't react, we can hit it.
There you go.
Watch from afar.
There you go.
Yeah, I think you'll be great. Obviously, Alicia, I've known Alicia a long time. She's very funny, so I think it'll be a good thing for the women for sure.
She's going to nail it for sure.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. I don't get nervous anymore, but this one, I'm nervous about.
Really?
Yeah.
She's admitted that. Has she ever admitted that in front of you?
No, I've never seen her get nervous. So I think it's something new. It's something she's wanted to do. It's on her bucket list. Anytime you try to do something new, you get a little nervous the first time. Problem is, once she does it the first time, she's going to be so comfortable. She's going to want to do it all the time and that kind of thing.
This might be her shifting where every time she goes and tries to do an education class, it's more comedy than education, right?
She obviously adds, or honestly adds, a lot of comedy into your education as it is. So I think that's one of the things that draws people to
We're not laughing, we're not
classes.
learning. That's
right?
my motto. Yeah.
So you make it fun. Right? It makes it fun. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, big shout out to Jesse out here listening, Miami Blue Pro. Lindy, and by the way, Jesse, doing great. First time listening to you guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks for jumping on. And then Lindy is going, woohoo! Can't wait to hear your comedy special.
Lindy, hey Lindy.
So big
Thanks
shout
for
out.
jumping on. Yeah.
Allie, big shout out to you. That pool guy, Pool Guardians, Pete the Pool Guy, big shout out to you. Alexa, big shout out. Berry Bull Pools, Penn Valley Pools, big shout out to you guys out there as well. Okay, so let's get this podcast started. By the way, see what happens? This podcast is all about Rick. And then...
I'm enjoying the color commentary, so this is good.
Right?
I'm turning it off.
Oh, no.
Quiet as a mouse.
Don't do that. Everybody's here to listen to you anyways.
Quiet as a mouse. Mickey Mouse in the middle of, I don't know, but quiet as a mouse.
Here's
Squeak,
the thing.
squeak.
If you have any tea that you want to spill on Rick or any of that kind of stuff, Zach and I won't be upset.
She's got probably more than a lot of
Probably
tea. For our 15-year friendship, there's been plenty.
So now is the ask because he's live. So you got to make sure that anything that you want, at least at the break, be like, unless you give me this, I'm going to spill some tea.
You're not wrong, but I will say this. I won't share this on the podcast, but Edgar asked me afterwards about the time I taught his 6-year-old about the birds and the bees because she asked.
When she was 6. Right?
When she was 6 and I was babysitting.
And you can't say that now on the air and
It's
leave
too
everybody.
long of a story.
Leave everybody hanging.
No.
I don't know. I
Sorry.
don't know that it's not too long of a story. It's a funny story.
Like people are going to be upset.
Maybe after the break, but you go
Okay,
ahead. Get started with Rick. Yeah. Yeah, maybe after the break. We'll see. Yeah.
So, Rick, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Edgar. My name's Rick Harvey. I'm the Senior Director of Sales at BioLab, so I manage the BioGuard dealer direct business for the company. Married, beautiful wife, Lisa. I've got 2 young daughters, a 15-year-old and a 10-year-old already. So it's crazy how fast they grow, right? Both of them are deep into travel softball. Keeps us very busy. We talk about time management, right? It's tough when you've got 2 kids in sports and you're running one place to the next every weekend. You don't get a weekend off, but you wouldn't trade it for the world. I bark every once in a while between the travel and the cost and all that kind of stuff, but I enjoy it a lot. So when you're not doing it, it makes a difference. And both my wife and I coach our daughters on our daughters' travel ball teams. So right now I've got travel ball for both of them. I got high school ball for the older one. Basketball will be starting before you know it for the youngest one too. So it's nonstop. But if I'm not at work and doing what I love, I'm at softball coaching and getting to watch our daughters grow. Get to spend that time with them, which has been great for us. So
What he doesn't have is time to drink bourbon with his friend Alicia. But
yeah.
Well, it's probably not bad thing for my health, actually.
He
So
doesn't have money either.
right.
With the softball and the baseball bats and the
basketball.
travel and
that's why Alicia always invites me to her house so I can drink off of her.
Yeah,
or something.
kids, I got the bourbon. You just come on.
on a budget. A couple quick things really quick. Jeanette is saying, good morning, Alicia. Michaela with Pool Brain is saying 89 days away. Woohoo. She's coming to the Women's Summit. Maria from Ensenada Pools. Hello, Alicia. You'll do great, Alicia. Excited for the comedy show from Michaela. And then Amy Margaret. Hi, Alicia and Rick. Big shout out to both you guys is what she's saying. Shout out to Alicia and Rick. And Todd Fury is listening going, recording the comedy show for replay, right? Question mark, question mark,
See,
question mark.
Todd can join our service staff.
Yeah.
We can make it work.
I've seen him in a bow tie. He
Yeah,
can pull
I've
it
seen it
off.
too, yeah.
One of the years for the awards, he was like Mr. GQ on the picture. We happened to capture it. I think he was like pointing like that with the blue velvet tuxedo. So
I think that was in Vegas.
in Vegas, yes.
Yeah, he did it well. Yeah, looked good.
And then Alicia became the face of it the next year because she was holding the trophy and she was like looking at it with like love was coming out of her eyes.
And then I drank an old-fashioned out of it. I did.
You had the trophy up. Yeah,
that was much later in the evening.
Yeah.
We'll give you credit for that. It was a long day.
It was a very long day.
Look, right off the bat, Corey Holland, I'm actually interested in a BioLab good location in Boerne, Boerne, Texas. Bourne, Texas.
Bourne, I believe it's Bourne.
I think it's Bernie.
Bernie,
there you
Texas.
go. Typical Texas, right?
It's
Typical
like a
Texas.
weird,
Yeah.
I could be completely wrong, though. I don't know.
Alicia, your name would be spelled A-L-L in Texas. That's Alicia. Yeah, like out here we pronounce everything.
Yeah, we certainly can follow
Corey,
up with
we
them.
can
Yeah.
follow up.
Look
for
at
sure.
that. He tried to buy one in, he's saying Burn E is what.
Burn E,
it's
okay,
spelled.
okay.
Corey, you know you have to spell it out like little
We
kids for me
appreciate
to
that.
not
Yeah.
botch that. But he said that he tried to get one out in San Antonio, but missed out on it.
Okay,
Mr.
yeah.
Corey Holland, and I have his info, so I'll
Yeah, we'll
please
follow
forward
up,
the
Corey.
information.
Thank
We'll be
you.
happy to follow up.
And here's the thing, Mr. Corey Holland, challenge, and I know that you're going to accept. So if you do end up getting the store, we'll record a lot of that process.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll-
absolutely.
BioLab might say no, but
No,
but that would be kind of cool.
absolutely.
that
Yeah,
would
we'll
be
get,
kinda
our
cool.
rep. We'll get our rep to follow up right away. Andrew is a great rep for us in Texas. So
Opening
we'll
a
definitely get
store out there, Corey, that would be cool. Coming down to record all that, setting up the store, went down that pivot hole.
And then we can go see the property.
Yeah, and then we can go. You should see. So he's got a property. He bought a property out there, and he built what he calls the little pond is what he calls it. He rented all the diggers himself. It's like a lake. It's not like a little pond. That
Dug his own lake.
Yeah,
Nice.
he dug his own lake out there. So it's legit. So you know what? He's invited a whole bunch of us to go stay out there. So maybe
That's what I'm saying.
we
Sounds
can-
like a party to
maybe
me.
we could do like a party
Yeah.
and over by his lake. So Corey's
Absolutely.
going, I don't know why I open talked on here.
Yeah, should have just done it.
All right. So, Rick, I'm curious to hear your story about how you got into the pool industry.
So for me, it's the unique one. You know, I've obviously been with BioLab for 15 years now, just gone over 15 years. But it really started, I was in the beverage industry out of college. So working for Red Bull North America, I guess, and doing on-premise, the fun stuff in college. And then it trickled into working on mass retailers and things like that for Red Bull in a distributing company called Power Pack Beverage. And, you know, I loved doing that. I enjoyed it. Spending evenings hosting parties at clubs and things like that was a lot of fun. But then I got to the point where, you know, my first daughter was on the way. You know, it was married, first daughter's on the way. And the company did some restructuring and they were moving the stuff to Philadelphia. I was living in central Pennsylvania at the time. And I decided that I need to start looking at maybe a little more of a grown-up job, right? So let's see what's out there. So I started looking around, worked with recruiters. BioLab came up as an option to be the sales rep in the Northeast part of Pennsylvania, Maryland kind of thing. So I applied. I thought, you know what, why not? Let's see what it is. I don't know anything about the pool and spa industry. You know, I know what a pool is. That was about where it was in the beginning, right? So I applied. It took a while. I thought I didn't get the job. So I was like, all right, moving on, whatever. They called me up and said, hey, listen, we'd love for you to come to work for us. And I came, and 15 years later, here I am. I've done a lot of different things while I've been here. I mean, Alicia's probably done more things growing up through the company, but she's got another 10 years on top of me, though. So this is her 25th year. But yeah, it's been a great time. I love what I do and getting to work with great people, both at BioLab and in the industry. So it's been a lot of fun.
So, Zach, we had Rick come out, and I had met Rick before, but I think obviously it was always kind of conversation in passing. We never did a deep dive. And normally when you hear, oh, they're in sales, you just figure, oh, they just do sales. But you're really a ball of knowledge, especially when it comes over to the business side of things. And we started going down some rabbit holes when we start talking about business. And you came in yesterday, you did 2 great training topics that we're going to put up on the Poolman University. And a lot of it was, you got my attention, and I was sitting quietly in the back of the room, just consuming all the content. But obviously, you've got a lot of experience with regards to the business side, which excites us because we want to continue to push that side of the business for the pool pros. And you've got both, right? Like you've got the service knowledge, you've got the retail side. You talked a lot about obviously investing in training, staff training, which is big to us. You talked about having conversations about the store experience, the merchandising. And even though I'm not in that realm, it's always fascinated me because I don't know it. You talk about building loyalty programs and all these type of things and leveraging social media and all that. So we are really excited that we kind of get to play with you because now we get to go, hey, we want to be able to talk about this business side of the industry because we think that's and again, nothing with Alicia. We love Alicia, right? But you could,
Oh,
water
I can't
chemistry,
I can't talk about the things Rick talked about.
and
That's the first thing I said. I can't do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking. Like you can go to a show and you can take a water chemistry class, or you can go online and all that kind of stuff. But there's really not a lot of the business talk. But there's not a lot of people that can talk to it to the level that you can, and the details and the support that you guys give your customers. So I'm excited to be able to talk about that today.
Yeah, and I want to dive into education because getting to hang out with you guys through the years, it's really clear that BioLab has a big belief in education, and you guys have built a big part of your business on educating and giving tools to your customers. And I would like to dive in and dig a little deeper on why that's so important to you guys.
I'll step in. Obviously, Alicia's our education director, but I think the foundation for what we do specifically with BioLab and our BioGuard brands, of which I represent, is that has been the foundation from the very beginning. Early on, 60 plus years ago, the decision was made that, listen, you've got to make sure that you're not only educating your teams in the field, but you got to be educating the sales associates in the stores and the people that are out there selling your product on the ground. And it's obviously continues to evolve. I think Alicia, since she's taken over that focus, has taken it to the next level. We've got some great, exciting things that we got planned in the future for continuing to advance that area. But education is not, for us, I mean, when we really try to focus our sales team in the field to be more business consultants to our customers than just sales guys or gals, right? I think, and it's important because you can ask a lot of our BioGuard dealers across the country, and they'll give credit to the fact that, listen, we're successful today because of the support that you gave us early on, right? And that's not just, here, this is how you sell pH down, right? It's more about, listen, this is how you run a business. These are things you need to be looking out for. How do you prepare? Those types of things. And I think that's what really made a big difference for those customers. And we continue to grow on that, right? So we want to focus to train our team, the train the trainer type mentality, so that our teams are communicating and working directly with the dealers out there, whether it's a new dealer coming on or somebody that's been here a long time. And let's face it, it opens the conversation with our dealers too. A lot of our dealers out there do some great things. It allows us to share that experience that some of them with using networking, right, at our annual events and things like that. So we want to make sure that they're sharing that just so that everybody can be successful, because we're one big family here is how we promote it.
And we build everything on a base of education.
Absolutely.
I mean, absolutely everything we do. And our leadership backs that every step of the way. So everything that we do, from our online stuff and our events and our marketing programs, is based on experts, premium education, making sure that everyone from the very top of our company down to the consumer that's putting products in the pool is well educated, not just on chemistry, but every step in between. Do you understand the chemistry? Do you understand why you're doing this? Do you understand the importance of it? Do you understand all the different things that you need to understand? So our dealers, as Rick said, they're like, yeah, you taught me the chemistry. Yeah, that's fine. But you taught me the metrics, the numbers, the finances. You taught me how to grow my business, how to market my business, how to do all those things. And that's what Rick is really good at. What we started to dive into yesterday is it's so much bigger than, yeah, let's talk about why we sanitize pools. It's important. That's important, right? But it's so much bigger than that. And I have been with BioLab for 25 years. And from the very beginning, the importance of education has always been at the forefront of this, what helps drive us and what helps make us successful. And I've done a lot of different things, but for most of it, it's had an education component to it. And it's always been such a big focus for us because we know how important it is. And hopefully we'll, in the fall, I'll be back here telling you about some really cool things that we are getting ready to do with our education programs for BioGuard specifically that are going to be really, really neat. Yeah.
And what I love about you guys, it's one thing to have education and educate your customers, but it's your approach to it. And Alicia, you said it earlier, and I'm certain I've heard you say it multiple times in the past, you're not learning if you're not having fun. And I think that's so true. And we've talked about it before, but it's every time some of my team has been able to participate in one of your guys' classes, it's like they're always walking away like motivated, uplifted, excited. They had fun in it. I appreciate the way that you guys take that approach because I think it makes it just a whole much better learning experience.
I think we've learned a lot over the years to how to adapt the trainings too, right? There was a time where the training was all about super technical, and that's how you were training. And then Alicia looked at it and said, listen, we need to evolve that, right? We need to start training how you want the sales associates in the stores to communicate with the customers. Otherwise, they're trying to talk super technical, right, to a person coming in, a consumer coming in. So that shift, I think, has made it more fun and I think more enjoyable. And so then the staffs in the stores are having a lot more fun talking to the consumer, which helps build relationships. We talked about that yesterday during one of the recordings. This is a relationship industry, and building that relationship allows you to build that trust, right? You build that trust, they're more likely to come back every time they need something. So I think shifting and training and how the approach and how you train helps build further communication with your consumers.
Right. Now, let me ask you, I have two questions. One, so BioLab, built on what it is as a company, you go to some of these big companies and they have on the walls what the missions are and stuff like that. Is your education part of that? Is your education part of that message as a company?
Yes, it is. Education is definitely
Pillars.
core. Yeah, one of the pillars.
Pillars,
Yeah. Yes, it's definitely one of the pillars that we have built BioGuard specifically on. And all of our brands are built on the pillars of education, product technology, things like that.
The reason I ask is because you guys have been doing this education for a very long time. And to me, it had to be because as you go through the times and the economy slows down and the forecasts don't look good, that tends to be the very first thing that goes, right? Especially for a big company like that looking to cut, right? Let's cut education. And over the last couple of months, I think the whole world has gone and a lot of people have cut. And where I've seen the most is in training and education and leadership and HR and that kind of stuff. And so to me, it has to truly be at the core of your belief as a pillar, because you guys have been around for 100 years, however many years, and that still seems to be the core focus for you guys. And I was able to go to one of your events, and the money that you spent for that event, I can tell you this by just putting on the Pool Nation Awards, it's a drop in the bucket of what we spend, and we spend a lot of money. But to put on an event like that for your dealers, the education, the thought process that was all around giving them the right tools to be successful, right, has to be at the core of what you do, because if not, companies, that's the first thing that they cut out. And I wish a lot more companies would do that, because a big push for us, and one of the reasons it's so easy to partner with you guys, is because we have the same belief. We don't have to do any work at our relationship because our core is exactly the same. And I've had the honor to meet a lot of your guys' customers and a lot of these legacy stores, and their stories are the same as ours, right? They're just, for us, I talk about it all the time, the poor retail people just get left on their own little silo over there, while builders and servicers, and it's like, they're part of the family. They belong with us. But I think one of the great things is to see somebody say, we know that this costs money, because damn it costs a lot of money to do that. But knowing that if you guys give that education and give them those tools, they're going to be successful. And it's going to in turn make you guys successful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're very fortunate, I think, with our leadership team that understands the value of education and with branding. And so they continue to support that as we move forward. So hats off to them, because let's face it, you're right. A lot of companies look at it like, okay, where can we make cuts? Let's do this. They've been steadfast. And whether there's been changes in certain roles at the top or not over the years, that's one thing that they're focused on. Ted, obviously, very big on education, so that helps. And same with our further leadership and executive leadership team.
That's one thing that we don't have to fight to show the value of education.
Yeah.
And not to say that we haven't made changes over the years we make changes to budgets just like everyone else does, and we change our formats and all that stuff as we go through the ups and downs just like everybody else does. But we never cut. We may change the format of our education, but we never cut the amount of education that we do, because we do understand the importance of it. And one thing that we do specifically for our BioGuard brand is that we're focused on making them the most premium dealers that we can possibly make them. And Rick does a really amazing presentation on being a premium dealer and being educated. It's a huge part of that. And we have to play our part in that. If we want you to be a premium dealer and sell what we would consider premium products, we got to play our own part in that. And that's on us to provide. And we take that very seriously, for
Yeah,
sure.
and yesterday we talked about training and staff training and why it's so important. But I think it's really important for whether it's your service company or construction or retail is making sure that you invest in your folks, right? Make sure you're training, make sure they understand the pieces so that they're more comfortable to promote and sell. One of the things that I hear people say all the time is, no, my sales folks in the stores will sell. My service guys go out and do service. And I said, you're missing the boat. Your service teams can be your frontline sales folks out there, right? They're the ones that are out there. They're seeing where the issues are. What you need a new pump, you need filters, whatever it might be. And it shouldn't be, let's go back and have a sales associate call and let somebody know. Like, do it right then and there, because the consumer, they're paying for you to come into that backyard to take care of their pool. And if you see something, they expect you're going to say something, right? And so use that, upsell it right then and there. Give your team the flexibility to get those sales done if you're not already doing that, because that makes a big difference, right? So I'm really big on making sure that you invest in your people. I know some people worry about they're here for a summer or 2 summers and I'm not going to invest too much time in them, but you'd be surprised how many people end up staying in businesses, right? Or maybe they end up taking your business over someday. But if you wait a couple years and not really invest in them, that's not a good thing. So take the time, work with your manufacturing partners like ourselves to help educate your teams, put together plans for proper onboarding and bringing your teams on, and make sure they've got the resources necessary to be successful.
And that goes at every level. It doesn't matter if you're retail. It doesn't matter if you're service. It doesn't matter if you're a bartender. It doesn't matter if you're a barista, whatever it is. If you're not giving those employees the tools to be successful, they're going to jump ship and they're going to leave. Right?
Absolutely.
And then that's a whole different animal that you have to deal with later. We're huge on the training aspect of it, the education. I would dare to say that your service pros that are out there servicing the pools, your guys that are out there doing the repairs, can be better salespeople than the people that are sitting inside the office, because
100% agree.
they have the eyes. And we talk about it, Zach, all the time, where for some reason when we get into business, we're always chasing revenue. We're always chasing the next account. We're always chasing the next customer, rather than looking at what's in the backyard and going, man, there's 3 things that are wrong with this pad or this backyard or the level of service that they have or whatever it is. Having somebody trained properly to be able to go to that person and go, let me educate you on why these are the things that we need to change. And let's be honest, those are the big ticket items, pad items, a heater, a pump. Nowadays, all those things are so expensive. They're the big ticket items, and they can be so important. And the companies that don't do that pay the price in the long run.
And I want to add in, I heard a quote, and I can't remember, I want to say Sheryl Sandberg with Facebook, but it was something along the lines of, what if I invest in these people and then they leave? And then it was like, what if you invest in them and they don't? And that has always stuck with me. And that's made my default of just keep investing, because the likelihood of them staying, if you are nurturing them and growing them, is a lot higher than them just running off and abandoning you. And I think that's a fear of a lot of people. And I want to ask you, Rick, now that we're on this topic, what would you say are some simple but powerful ways that businesses can start training their team to elevate the customer experience? Because again, I think this is something that we tend to overlook, or we get caught in the grind of chasing the next check. What would you say some of those simple and powerful ways are?
Yeah, I recommend you start with the basics, right? Get them in, make sure they understand the day-to-day and what happens and what works, right? Because I think sometimes we're quick to jump in, okay, well, let's talk about how to sell this pump or these chemicals, right? So right away, we want to jump into those things, but help them about how to properly follow up. Yesterday, we talked when we did the session about customer service is not just about the sale. So when the customer comes in, you get the sale, they leave, great. You should be talking about how do you get that sale to start with, the communication, build those relationships. Some people are just not good at building relationships, right? So if I'm going into a retail store and the associate's sitting there on their phone and they don't address me while I'm there until I come up to the counter, that's a problem. So, you want to make sure you get that front end. I use the Chick-fil-A model, right? Everyone at Chick-fil-A is so friendly, no matter what you do. It's the craziest thing. But I think everybody can learn a lot from the Chick-fil-A model and how they do that to build the friendships or build the relationships. But then also talking about the sale doesn't end. It's about the post-sale. So how do you follow up with those individuals after they've been in the store? Find ways to build relationships by asking questions and how do they connect. Maybe somebody comes in and they had a problem that was outside of their pool and they were talking to you about it. And then you come back, you should make notes in your point of sale system or your water testing system. And when they come back in, say, hey, how did this work out? And that helps build those relationships. Because again, I mentioned earlier, trust is everything. So that's the little things that you got to start. In my opinion, part of your onboarding is to make sure that they understand that it's not a transactional experience. It needs to be an enhanced experience to build the relationship, to build the trust. in order to do it. And a lot of sales folks out there are very quick to be transactional right away. And I get it. You want the sale, go get it done. But find ways to connect, because yes, selling that filter quickly as a transaction, you've asked a couple more questions, you might have been able to sell a whole new upgrade on the equipment pad. So that's kind of the idea. So ask the questions, teach them how to ask the whys, right? One more question approach. And I think that will help them take the next step from a sales perspective. But customer service is critical. And I think too many, and listen, it's not just about in the store, right? There's a lot of folks that struggle with the customer service on the phone, right? And I call that out because there's softwares out there, right, that can record the calls. And so you can try to improve customer service. But if a customer calls in and they've got a problem and you're too busy, I'm sorry, I have to call you back, I'm too busy, and you hang up, that's not good customer service, right? Let somebody else handle the call or whatever it might be, but follow up and don't be rude, because people shut it off. I get it. When you get busy, you're thinking, oh, well, if I upset one person, it's not a big deal, I'm too busy anyway. But that can trickle. And so you need to make sure you're on top of that, because one customer turns into 10 and word of mouth ends up making it 25. And the next minute, your revenue's down.
And it's the same thing even for the service pros, right? They're doing repairs, they get busy, customers are calling for accounts and say, I'm too busy, I'm not going to answer the phone. It's very easy to just do that, but that's a huge loss right there.
Absolutely.
And then we call that the low-hanging fruit, right? Like those are the basic things that you should be.
Oh, yeah. And technology today is changing. So there's a lot of things out there that you can do to help enhance that. It's crazy. You can have somebody answer a phone and is able to follow prompts with AI now without physically talking to somebody, and people don't even realize it. And then you get connected. So instead of putting somebody on hold for 20 minutes, you're actually talking through it and it's pulling up the stuff. So when you do get the person that you're going to talk to, they're already ready with an answer for you. So you just got to look for it.
That's crazy.
The other thing, sorry if I can add
Yeah,
something
go
real
ahead.
quick, is one of my biggest pet peeves with customer experience is you have to be careful. And I point this out. I actually do a workshop on onboarding and training and creating the first customer experience. And one of the biggest things that I would caution everyone is if you really look at your business, right? A lot of businesses have the cancer, the one employee, the grouchy one, the one that cuts every corner they can, that complains all the time, that doesn't do things you want them to do, and you put up with it, right? You just ignore it because it's easier to ignore it than it is to replace them. So you're like, fine, I just whatever. But when you're hiring new people and you're trying to start them out on the right foot so that you can create the best customer experience that you can, and that person is there having influence over them, now you're creating a second version and then a third version and a
that
fourth
cancer
version.
spreads.
It
100%.
does. It does. And I get so frustrated when people are like, they don't do anything like I want them to, but it's just ignore it. That's a terrible approach to, then you end up causing problems where the customer experience is bad because they're learning at the knee of the person that is mad at the world and is helping to create that. So if you do have that person, get rid of the problem and start fresh with somebody that's not going to do that.
Yeah.
I see it all the time.
Yeah, and I think that comes down to hiring, right? When you're looking, and I get it, right? In our industry, sometimes it's tough to find good people, but I'm a big believer, and I know my team's always, when we're hiring for an open position, but I look to hire energy. I can teach you the rest. I want energy because that makes a difference in whether it's a retail or a service situation. Like you want somebody that's going to be energetic, that's going to be a go-getter, because if you don't, you're right. If one person sees it's okay to be that way, then it kind of all of a sudden your entire team ends up being that way if you don't have the energy and the drive. Another thing that I think it's also important to add is teach your staffs about not making the buying decision for the customer. I think that's one that I see all the time, and I always bring it up when I'm in stores, and I really like to just go in and observe for a while first to see how things go. And I'll just drop a quick story real quick, but this was a few years back, but I was in one of our retailers up in Pennsylvania, and I was just observing the sales associate, and it was actually the store manager, believe it or not. And this gentleman came in and was busy or whatever. And the guy goes, how can I help you? And he said, hey, I need to buy a bucket of tablets. And so the associate said, yeah, no problem. So he went over and got some plain white trichlor tabs and he put it up on the counter. The guy paid for him and the guy left. So I walked up to him. I said, what'd you do wrong there? And he was, what do you mean? I sold a bucket of tabs and didn't do anything wrong. I said, why'd you sell him the basic tab instead of a premium tab? In our case, Silkguard Complete. So he goes, I didn't want to bring that up because he didn't look like he had a lot of money, right? So I said, all right, what did he look like? Well, he just had a raggedy T-shirt on and ripped jeans and things like that. But I said, what you did not see is he took that bucket of white trichlor and he put it in the back of his Mercedes and he drove away. He's just a guy on Saturday that's dressed down.
Yeah.
So you made a decision. And so you gave up profit. because you assumed that he couldn't afford it. You always start, and we talk about premium. I said, listen, if you are a specialty retailer, you got to understand that the consumer's coming into you to get the best possible product that they need. Otherwise, they'd be gone to big box. So it's your job to give them the best recommendation of what they should be using in their pools or spas. Then if it turns in, listen, I don't want to spend that much money, or I got a budget or whatever, then you can adjust that. But you always go premium, work your way back, because again, you're a specialty retailer. You want the basic stuff in there, guess what? They can buy that anywhere. Your job as a specialty retailer is to give your customers the best possible recommendation.
Zach, did that remind you of anything?
It reminds me of when we had a small retail section and Leslie would work the store. She would tell people all the time, they'd be like, oh, what about this enzyme blend product? And she'd be like, you don't need that.
I know.
I'm like, no, they want that. But
Did you say, honey, you don't need that new shirt, ring, pair of shoes either, because that's what you're doing right now, right?
But it's exactly what John always talks about. Don't shop with their wallet. And I see it all the time too. And it's assumptions, the whole saying around assumptions. And some of our best, most loyal customers that fix everything every time, if you were to make a judge the book by the cover type of assessment,
you wouldn't have it.
You wouldn't expect that. And so I've learned over the years exactly what you're saying. You don't shop with your wallet.
Yeah, don't shop with your own. John just says that all the time. Don't shop with your wallet. Offer them the different products, the premium product. Let them choose what it is that they want to be able to do. Hey, guys, let's take a quick word from our sponsors. When we come back, we will come back to some of these notes over here, which I'm going to talk about what Corey was talking about, and we'll be right back.
Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add recurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double-locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Natural Chemistry, a leader in specialty water care solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos-Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit hayward.com to discover more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. We continue our conversation with Rick and Alicia. Hey, I want to come back over here before we jump on and give a couple shout outs. Hey, look at this. Perfect timing. I just jumped on and Sienna, my daughter, jumped on. So, baby girl, hey, big shout out to you out there. Mr. Christopher Scott, what's going on? Big shout out to you. Poolside, pool service, Limping Elk Pools. Big shout out to you out there. He's faithful. Stone Line, big shout out to you. Coastal Cactus, Mr. Chris Marcano.
Well, hello, Mr. Marcano.
Mr. Marcano. Why is Mr. Marcano watching?
I don't know.
I'm kidding. I'm just giving him a hard time. I like Chris. Hey, Johnny from the Grit Game is listening as well. Nick Winning, what's going on? Groove Pools, Andy. Big shout out to all you guys. And then, of course, Mr. Corey Holland was saying, hey, I got 20 butter sticks delivered today. And I'm like,
Butter sticks. Wow.
What are butter sticks?
I'm thinking that's a lot.
I mean,
of butter.
I know the obvious butter
Right?
sticks.
Yeah, that's right. You know,
Plus, will bring them right to your door. But,
I thought that was kind of run like
Yeah.
butter
Are
after
you
we're talking
baking?
him his pond. And I said, what are those? And he goes, 4 foot by 2 foot limestone blocks. Making a baseball field now, I'm going through a midlife crisis. So, Zach, that's what Corey Holland is doing. He's going through a midlife crisis, building a baseball field at his house next to his lake.
I need to know how the butter sticks make the baseball field. I can't.
Maybe they go fat. Slime, you slide faster because it melts. I don't know.
Shout out to Nick. You said Nick Winning.
Yeah, I give Nick a shout out.
Yeah, shout out.
That's
our guy, Nick.
That's one of Zach boys out there. So big shout out to you out there, Nick. And then Kevin came on here and said, Zach, because you were talking about it. Yes, what happens if we invest in our people and they leave? What happens if we don't and they stay?
That's
You know
right.
what, though?
Yeah.
And someone that only stays one season or two, they can still make a huge impact on your business, even in
Absolutely.
that short amount of time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to continue our conversation. I do have a question because you guys talk a little bit about wanting to be the best and be that 5-star service. And, you know, you obviously have to work to be able to offer that. It's not just, hey, this is my service and now I'm going to call it 5-star service and that means I'm going to get more. If you want to grow a 5-star business and when you guys are coaching your businesses that you help and stuff like that, what are some of the key things that you pinpoint to them that they should be doing to be that 5-star?
I think it starts with the people. I think Alicia brought up earlier, like when we talk about 5-star, you know, are you a 5-star customer or a 5-star dealer, a 5-star service company? You know, a lot of people think, yeah, we are. All right. And so you take a look at it, right? You analyze it, you work with them to determine if that's the right thing. But I think it really starts with having the right people. If you've got employees that are downers a little bit and not really into what's going on, you really need to look at your people. So you have to look at your process. And a lot of people don't have process in their businesses. And I think Zach mentioned earlier, it's one of the future classes that you guys are going to be doing. But if you don't have a process of how things work, and from everything from getting the customer, from a marketing plan to getting them in the stores to follow up, post-sale type things, you're not going to be successful, right? So we like to focus to make sure that they're looking at that mix. We talk about digital marketing. Are you digital marketing? Or are you sending that mailer out once every 2 months to your customers, and that's your marketing plan, right? That's where it is. Customer service is the follow-up, the phone calls. If you had customers in this past quarter and they haven't been in since, what are you doing to go? I don't know where they went. Are you calling them? Are you following up? Are you sending them a coupon or a promo announcement, something to drive them back in the store? If you're not, then you're losing out, right? And so I think everybody thinks that they might have a 5-star business, but I think there's a lot of things. And the best thing you can do is work with your reps, right? Your manufacturing reps, because they see them all, right? And they can give you ideas and things to work with.
I would tell everyone, are you a 5-star business? If you answered yes right off the bat, I would say go back and reevaluate.
I agree.
Because I think that if you really evaluate your business honestly, there's always things that you can do to improve. My favorite answer is I'm a 4.8. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's great. That's a great answer. Well, what do you need to do to get the other 0.2? And it's like, I've got a big stain in the middle of my showroom where somebody spilled a bleach bottle and I probably should replace the carpet. Then go do that. I have one employee who answers the phone and sounds like she's mad all the time. Then fix that. It's little things. I had one dealer, are you a 5-star business? I'm not. Okay, what are you? I'm probably a 3 at best. Okay, what do you need to do about that? But you have to be honest with yourself to evaluate what you need to do and then do it. And I've said, just evaluating it's not enough. Then you got to do it, right? And make the changes. So
I think look, show, act, right? So, you want to look the part, you want to show the part, right? And then show action and follow through. So I think that's the key to being 5-star. You're right. I think everybody needs to look at themselves and what it takes to truly be 5-star. And that may mean product wise, right? 5-star, does 5-star mean that you've got 6 brands of chemicals on your shelves, or every pumper heater that's manufactured out there because you had one customer ask for it, and so now you sell it in your store? I think if you want to sell premium, we talk about selling premium, you should be looking at what's the best options for your customers, and that's what you should be representing in your retail stores or even what you're using on your service runs. So that's the point, right? If you want to be 5-star and you want to take it to the next level, you need to look at yourself as a business owner and determine what you're going to represent and work with the best possible manufacturers you can.
the whole focus of the BioGuard brand is be a 5-star dealer. The products are premium. Your store should be premium. Your people should be premium. Your education is premium. Like everything. That's the whole focus of the BioGuard brand. From, as they say, I never have understood this. From soup to nuts, it's premium, and that's what we focus on. Where does that come from, though? Soup to nuts. What is that?
I have no idea. We're going to have to Google that.
Yeah, can somebody tell
soup
me?
to nuts.
Like,
I'm on it.
Yeah.
So everybody that's listening, Corey sent me the picture of the butter sticks there. Check that out. You can see it's the limestones that he's kind of getting on there, and they do look like butter sticks. But what's more important is, can you do me a favor? Can you send us a picture of that finished lake that you did out there, specifically with your house sitting over to the ledge of it that's rustic and
We
all
need
that
to
kind
know
of
where the
stuff?
party is.
Yeah, right.
We need to know where the party is, and then I need to know, obviously, when I'm in that mood to be in quiet time, what mentally that should look like.
Yeah.
So it looks legit. And then he's sending me a picture over here with his little bobcat type thing. Oh, there's his lake. You know what? Never mind. He sent me a picture. I'll share it with you guys.
So
He knows.
soup to nuts, beginning to end, it says it's derived from the structure of a formal multi-course meal. Well, soup would be typically served first, and the nuts would be offered as a dessert, which is weird. So there you go.
Soup to nuts.
I
guess that
learn
makes
something
sense.
every day.
You know what? I learned, that's it today. My mom always said, you learn something every day or you're dead. So I guess I'm not dead today.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
And now when you say it, you understand what it means.
Yeah, now I know.
I
Okay.
can be smart and I can go soup to nuts, and then I can think they probably have no idea what that means.
Probably.
Well,
not.
who's eating nuts for dessert?
Right.
That's
More
from-
Yeah.
appropriately, I'm going to
That
start
was
saying,
back then.
I'm going to start saying, well, it's like from soup to chocolate. Yeah.
Unless you get those Paline cashews from, not cashews, but pecans from
Geese.
Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
That's like a dessert, man. Those are good.
Which, by the way, everybody listening, we had a conversation last night for about 30 minutes about Buc-ee's.
We did.
We talked about their...
My
What?
saying would be from cheese fries to cheesesteak to
cheesecake.
Exactly.
That's an awful lot of cheese.
Hey, Spider, that's a cheesy saying.
Ka-ching, ching.
Yeah, you needed the pictures for premium. Or you know what you can do, Spiders? Find a little laugh kind of thing. And since Alicia wants to be a comedian, you can, every time she talks, you can do a little laugh thing.
I have this. Get her out of here.
I've been gonged off.
You got the gong.
Yeah.
No, that's absolutely. But yeah, we sat here having a great conversation about Buc-ee's. Zach, you missed it. Talked about the brisket. We talked about the fudge. We talked about the tortillas. We talked about the banana pudding.
We talked about Edgar sitting on the curb like a high schooler eating the brisket.
with John and Janie. And then we talked about the pecans.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Benny, I know you're listening. We talked about you too with those.
Yeah.
We did.
Beaver nuggets.
Beaver
or whatever.
nuggets, yeah.
Beaver
see?
nugget lover.
See,
Yeah.
everybody knows that he likes the beaver nuggets. He goes
yeah.
nuts
Yeah.
over the beaver nuggets. So big shout out there to you. So what are the great elements of a great customer service that are actually going to drive retention? What are those things that they should be doing to keep that retention?
So again, I think relationship is the thing, right? Find ways to build trust. And in order to do that, I think knowledge is power, right? So we talk about education training earlier. You should make sure that you're comfortable with everything that you've got in your retail store or whatever equipment you're servicing or selling. Knowledge is everything. So again, as a specialty retailer or a builder, you want to make sure that you know everything you possibly can know so that there's no question that you're the expert, right? You should make sure that your team's the expert in whatever area that you're focusing on. Then after that, you work to build the trust, right? So find ways to connect with your customers when they come in the store. Once you get to that point, then you're worried about following through. Once you get a sale, following through, utilizing different things to keep the customers going, marketing to them, make sure that you're focusing on different areas and not marketing the same product that only really covers half of your customers that you're marketing to, right? Be selective on how those things work. And then using things like the data that you're getting from your customers. You ask questions. I'm a big believer that one of the things that people talk about is, people don't like to give you their email addresses or their phone numbers and things like that, but they do it every day. You go to Kohl's.
I was going to call BS right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think that is making the decision for them because I don't want to ask them, so I'm just going to act like they don't. And I put some junk data into the system. So you can't use that data then to market and reach back out with those people, right? And then reach into the follow-up piece. I think the follow-up piece is how you keep customers more than anything. Is they had a problem, they come in, you solve their problem, they go home, they fix it. If they never hear from you again, it's okay. They did a nice job for me that one time. But if at the end of the week you reach out to say, hey, I wanted to follow up to make sure that the pool turned out okay and everything looks good, and they're like, oh yeah, thanks for following up, that's great. Everything's great. And so then when they decide to do an upgrade on their pool or they have another problem, they're coming back to you because you provided a solution for them. You made it convenient. And convenience, I think, would be another thing that I think is very important, especially from a retail perspective. That's what customers are looking for, right? They want it convenient, especially today with technology. It's like, listen, I want to be able to place my order quick, stop and pick it up curbside, or have it delivered to me. So if you don't offer those things, that's an issue. And again, customer service, you just want to make sure that you have the right people in the retail stores.
You always talk about store hours.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I didn't even think about store hours.
Yeah.
Thanks for the reminder. If your store, you're open 9 to 5 every day during the week, right? I think you're losing out because if you got people lined up at 4:45 to get their water tested and buy products and you're closing at 5 and your associates are like, it's 5 till, I'm locking the door because we want to get out of here at 5. That shouldn't be the approach, right? So maybe it means you take a couple days a week where you're open till 7 or 8 o'clock because most people work 9 to 5 or 8 to 5. And so when do they get a chance? That's my biggest pet peeve with banks. I choose my bank based on where I'm going to have the most flexibility. I'm working all day. I can't get to the bank all the time during the day. When specialty retail is the same way, you need to stay open later, capture those customers because you're giving away sales. Because what happens is they need to pick up something, you're closed. Guess what? They're going to the next guy down the street, and they'll buy whatever it's there. And it may not be the right thing. That person built the
relationship, and that person now is a customer of them.
Correct. And then you don't get that chance again because now you're not. And then you're calling them saying, oh, what happened? Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Well, you're not open during the right hours for me, so I went somewhere else. Learn from those things. If you're doing surveys with your customers after a job or whatever it is, have regular meetings with your team. Talk to your teams about the results of the surveys that you're doing. How can we be better? How do we get those 5 stars on our surveys every time? My favorite is like, oh, would you do a survey for me in 10, please? Alicia and I were just the other day at a storage unit for some stuff that we do. And the gentleman was helping us. He goes, hey, listen, could you go on? And I mean, he literally handed us
he needed that review. Yeah.
And he's like, if you give me a 10, that would be great. And I'll definitely follow up and do all these things. And it's okay to ask, but do something for it before you ask for that 5-star review. So
he took my phone and clicked.
He pulled it up for you,
to where I could click the button. He was.
Yeah. And I'll tell you two things. One, you're talking about following up with phone calls and stuff like that. And at least out here in Texas, the people that do that amazingly well are vets. Right? Mm-hmm. You go to a vet, you take your dog, whatever, it doesn't matter, whatever it is that they do, you get a phone call the next day. Hey, I wanted to find out how Ellen or how Roscoe's doing. Are they doing okay? Is there anything that we could do? Great touch. That always reminds you that's something that you could do, especially when you do an install or you do something. And hey, if you're on the service side, it could just be a text. Hey, Alicia, how's the pump working? Everything working okay? Do you need me to look at anything? No, it's great. It's beautiful. We're good. blah, blah, blah. You just close that door right there. The other thing, and I'll tell you where it's so important to ask, and this is where I've gotten a lot of my philosophy, and you'll hear me talk about it, and I'll tell you, tell me what I need to do better. I don't care about what I'm doing well. Tell me what I need to do better, right? Because I want to get to the bottom the quickest. And I was working in hotels, and I was working for Hilton, and then I became a director for an office, and they used to track us by kind of like a stoplight, right? So red is you're doing bad, yellow you're doing okay, and green you're doing great. I became the director of front office, and all of our stuff was in the red. And I was like, how am I going to solve this the fastest? And it was very simple. It was like, here we have these comment cards, and we don't ask customers to fill out comment cards, and that's going to tell us what we need to do better, right? And really quick, we put a little program together. Hey, you know, if you get 50 comment cards, you'll get an extra $10. If you get 100, you get $50 on your paycheck. And then everybody all of a sudden at checkout, hey, I check you out. Can you fill this out for me? And customer filled that out. We just sat there. We just took that information. And then I said, hey, let's meet every morning and let's just go over the comment cards and figure out what our biggest problems are. And literally within 2.5 months, we had everything in the green because we were addressing, but it's getting the data to be able to look at it and go, now I have the data. Now what do I need to fix? And I think as service companies, we don't do that a lot. We don't take the time to stop and say, and nowadays, come on, with all kinds of software and all kinds of programs, you can sign up for something for $20 a month and send out a survey to all your customers. And then, hey, just solve what they're telling you that the problem is. And then that's going to creep you up to that 5-star.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. You're solving the problems that they're telling you are there, because you could be that 4.8 star company and you're just assuming, oh, we need to get better at these things. Maybe you're amazing at those things in the eyes of the customer. So I love/hate the negative feedback.
Yeah.
But if you don't know it's there, you can't fix it.
But I also think we get tied up on the star piece of it, right? So you can be a 4.8 and there's still some things in there that you need to address. But because we're a 4.8 out of 5, we're
true.
good with it, right?
That's true. We're happy. Well, I have a 4.8.
Yeah. So there should always be drive. Like, how do we make it to 5? And so if there are some negative things, how are we addressing it? Responding to the surveys or responding to feedback on social. But the personal touch, I think, is important. So if somebody puts up a negative review for one reason or another, you've got to have people that's watching that stuff in your businesses and follow up with them right away. Because sometimes they'll adjust it or amend it or for whatever reason. But you've got to reach out to them and say, listen, just wanted to follow up. I see you had a bad experience. What can I do to help make your next experience better, right? And not just say, oh, how do I get this negative review down? It should be about, because then what happens is then they'll follow back up again and say, listen, I give them a lot of credit. They followed up right away. They rectified the problem. So now I'm changing my review, right?
People just want to be heard.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, nobody's perfect, right?
No.
If I go somewhere and I see that you have 25 stars, I'm like, but what I do look for is the company at least acknowledging and saying, hey, you had a bad experience, call this number. You don't even have to say,
you don't even have to
get into it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
if
please
you
give us a
just
call.
go on there and you just say, hey, I really apologize about that. Can you give me a call?
Let's figure it out.
Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
Then you know that those people are looking and, okay, this is truly happening because, look, nobody's perfect. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to drop the balls with customers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right?
and be careful on social too, right? So I like the idea of saying, hey, give us a call. We'd love it, and kind of leave it at that.
Yep.
And don't go into the conversation in the thread of how you're going to fix it and that person's back and forth stuff, because that can be more negative than just a 3 out of 5 star because they're seeing all this back and forth. It's better to reach out to the person, acknowledge you're going to reach out to the person, and then move on from it.
Yeah. It's important to follow up right away, right?
Absolutely.
And again, going back to my hotel days, we had a 48-hour policy. So every customer that complained had to be addressed and fixed within 48 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was like, we're going to fix this and we're going to fix that right away. Same thing. Don't hide from it. And it doesn't matter if it's your fault, fix it, apologize, and move on and learn from it. That's going to get you closer to the 5-star, right?
Absolutely.
Than doing that.
So we were talking about customer retention, and this is something we've talked about a lot recently, especially when it comes to the service side and kind of the idea of losing customers just as fast as you're picking them up on one end and losing them out the other. Can you talk about why customer retention is so important? Because I don't think that a lot of people put a lot of importance on it or truly understand why it is important.
Yeah, I think everybody's always focused on adding customers, getting new customers. And sometimes it's easy to forget your existing customers. You could be, in some ways, you take them for granted. Like they're going to be there. They're not going anywhere. And it's interesting sometimes how you lose those customers, right? It may not just be price. It may not be something that they offer different. It just might be because they don't really do anything extra because of it. I use the analogy to the cell phone industry does they always have these great offers, right? And programs and discounts for new people coming. They do nothing for you if you've been with them for 20 years. So I think you have to approach that, right? When it comes to retention is, don't forget about your loyal customers. And we talk about loyalty programs and ways to keep them involved. Maybe they get certain things free after a certain period of time, or if it's weekly maintenance, they get a weekly service for free after so long, or whatever discounts. But I think you have to make sure that you're, again, adding that personal touch to it as well. I like things like you go to the backyard, you do what you do, you clean the pool, it looks good. How does it hurt to do a 30-second video, right? Talking to the customer, showing them the pool, please let us know if there's anything else you need, and you send it to them right then and there. Because if you've done service and pools, you know that if I could be there at 8 o'clock in the morning and service your pool and it looks great, and by the time the homeowner comes home at 6 o'clock at night, the pool looks bad, and they're like, what, you didn't come today? you didn't do anything? So just little things like that, adding the touch, but keeping your customers happy by regular communication, follow up, provide some sort of loyalty program that's going to keep them engaged in what you do. And then always look to how you can enhance the experience that you offer for them, right? And keep them up to date. Again, not making the buying decision for them, but if there's something that needs to be done, make sure that you're staying on top of them. Communicate with them as often as you possibly can so that they don't feel like, okay, yeah, the pool guy was here, he did the job, and he moved on. And so to them, it's okay, so this pool guy will do it for $25 less, so it's just another pool guy, but it's Zach, right? No, I wouldn't do that to Zach. So I built that relationship. He takes care of me, looks out for me. Once you build that relationship, even on the service side, they're not likely to move away from you over money. Instead, they might say, hey, man, there's another guy in town. He's offering the same thing, and he's willing to do it for a little bit less. And you might say, you know what? I can help you out. I can get you a little bit of a discount, because guess what? A discount's better than not having the job at all. So it's not one way or the other. It might just mean give up a little something to maintain versus losing the customer altogether and not knowing about it until it's too late.
And in our industry, it's such a relationship business that if you do a great job at that relationship, people aren't going to ask for the discount, right? Because you are offering that 5-star service. You're offering that premium product. And the funny thing is, we talk about this all the time, and we joke around and we're like, oh my God, if I hear you say that one more time, I'm going to slap you, or you have to give me. But that's one of them, right? The one of them is we are not a transactional industry.
We're not.
And the people that come in, and I see it, when I see leaders that come in to run companies and they're transactional based, I sit there and I go, that person's not going to last because they don't understand it. And you'll tell them to their face, this is not a transactional industry. I know it's cliche for me to say it, right? But it's relationship driven. And if you can really focus in on that customer relationship, there's your customer retention. Right?
100%.
They're not going to go anywhere.
But you can't take that for granted.
No,
either.
you
can't take the
100%.
relationship.
If you're constantly working on that relationship,
Yep.
then you're in a good spot.
I talk to the team all the time too, and it's even at just the smallest of levels. It's like the forgiveness that you get, because like Edgar was saying, like we all make mistakes, and there is when we're serving a customer for years, at some point we're going to make a mistake. And if you have that relationship and you have that trust, they're usually like, you know what, don't worry about it, no big deal. And we find that the people that we don't have the relationship with, because maybe we haven't had an opportunity to meet, they're the quickest to call us, to complain, to drop us, whatever. That's just something that we try to focus on. And sometimes they get great Christmas gifts.
Yeah. I remember, I'll never forget, I was doing a pool and I walk in and here I am with my cart, and all of a sudden I turn the corner and I go to the pool, and the pool was like green, but like a slime green. And I'm like, what the hell happened to this pool? And I remember the customer coming out and just going, oh yeah, it started to go green, but no big deal. I figured you'd be here anyway. So just, and he was just like very nonchalant.
Edgar will fix it.
But we had such a great relationship that it wasn't, hey, my pool's green. He was like, all right, I screwed up. I know you'd figure it out and you're going to be able to fix it.
Yeah, Zach, I think it's the transactional piece. We talk about transactional. I think that works with service too, right? It's like, you get the service contract, you're going out and doing it, but what else are you doing to maintain it? Don't be afraid to say hello. I'm not saying you go knock on their window and they're working and say hi, but if they're around, you should acknowledge them. Add that personal touch, because again, that's how you build the relationships. Retail stores are a little bit easier than maybe for weekly service, because you're not really in front of the customer as much unless there's a problem and they're coming out doing it. Because I know there's those customers that will follow you around as you're doing it, wondering why you're doing it, stuff like that. But just make sure you build those relationships even in the backyard. And that's where we mentioned earlier in the podcast about once you build that relationship, then your service techs should be some of your best sales folks, right? Because they're building that trust there. Remember, some of the service people that are on weekly service are never out. They don't come into your retail store, right? So you have to do that in the backyard. Otherwise, you're losing a lot of opportunities.
Absolutely. Hey, guys, let's take our final word from our sponsors. When we come back, I want to get some final thoughts.
Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add recurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double-locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Natural Chemistry, a leader in specialty water care solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit hayward.com to discover more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation live podcast. We continue. What was your intro when you did the...
What's up, pool people?
Zach, I think we might need to try to.
Pool
What's
people.
up? No,
No, no, no, no. There's
whoa.
no T. There is no T in it.
So how is it?
What's up? Pool
What's
people?
up?
There you go.
A little deeper. Like, what's up?
That one's already taken.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Somebody trademarked that tone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Before y'all get to final thoughts and whatnot, we were promised the birds and the bees story.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, Rick, are you sure you're all right?
I don't
'Cause
care.
It's on you.
She's 10 now.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine. She's still young enough not to really care.
Okay,
So you
all
can
right.
tell her business.
If you guys don't know, Rick and I are very good friends outside of business. And so when Rick moved to Georgia, it was him and his wife and his two girls, and Rick's brother lived with them. So they all lived in the house together. And so when Rick and Lisa would go out or whatever, they had a built-in babysitter, right? Because Rick's brother, his name's Toph. He was able to keep the girls, so they never had to worry about it. Toph unexpectedly moved back to Pennsylvania, and Rick and Lisa had tickets to a comedy show. And it happened very quickly, and he didn't have anybody to watch the kids. So he's like, I don't think we're going to be able to go to this comedy show. And I'm like, I got you. I'll come watch the girls. I don't mind. And so I did. I came up. They were 6 and I guess 10 at the time.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
The 10 or 11, however old Reagan was, all she wanted me to do is order Domino's pizza and leave her alone. I'm like, done, whatever. She went up to her room and never saw her again.
Preteen.
Yeah.
Right?
But the 6-year-old, sweet as can be, she wanted to sit on the couch and watch some YouTube video about elephant foam or something. I don't know. So we're sitting there and she's all snuggled up, tucked under my arm, and sweet. I mean, she's the sweetest kid. And so ever since she's met me, it was me and Aunt Crystal and my wife. And she says, are you and Aunt Crystal married? And I'm like,
She's like, oh no.
yes. And she goes, she's quiet for a second. And she goes, 2 girls can get married? And I'm like, yeah. And in my head, I'm like, okay, I know Rick well enough to know this conversation's okay, right?
Yeah,
So I'm like, all right, that's fine. It's fine. And she's quiet for a minute. She goes, do you have any kids? And I'm like, no. And she goes, can you and Crystal have kids? And I'm like, oh my God.
So she's texting me while I'm in the comedy show, like, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's
screwing
about
up your kid, Rick. I don't know what to do right now, but I'm about to screw your kid up. And I said, if we wanted to have kids, then we could adopt kids, we could foster kids. If one of us wanted to have a baby in our belly, like, what else do I say? There still has to be a boy around, because I'm not going any further than that. Right? I'm already traumatizing this child for the rest of her young life, right? She's quiet again for a minute, and here she comes back. She goes, so if daddy was a girl, him and mommy could be married? And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. She's like, okay. And she goes, and Reagan and I would still be here because Toph is around.
My brother. That was.
And I'm like, yeah, sure.
And as she's texting that to me, and I'm showing my wife, goes, see, this is what I mean. What people
Everybody
think.
in the neighborhood thinks that anyway.
Yeah. So it was pretty funny.
So I'm like, I'm totally like, I'm screwing up your kid right now. I'm really sorry.
You've damaged her.
Yeah, I've damaged your child. I hope the comedy routine was fun. Here she is. Goodbye.
Yeah, and you know how kids are, right? When they're at that age, it's the 20 questions thing.
Yeah.
It's always about, it's not a simple answer, response,
Why?
boom, done.
Why?
It's like,
Why?
yeah.
Why? Why?
Yeah.
Because I said so. Why?
Yeah. So it's like well thought out questions. Like she had
No,
it
that's
down,
awesome.
But as long as he was living in the house when they were born, so as long as he was around, worked just fine. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what? Good enough.
And she's 10, and I haven't clarified any further. Just
No.
like, thinking,
That's funny.
Yes, and Aunt Alicia's not going to babysit anytime soon. If she ever says, "Can I ask you a question?" the answer is no.
You asked your one question and you're it. That's it. So.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Zacharias, let me get some final thoughts really quick.
Sorry, my face is
I know his jaw is cramping up over there.
laughing. Yeah, this is some great stuff that we covered today. This is stuff that we're really passionate about. And I know there's actually a bunch more questions, believe it or not, that we didn't get to that are just pure gold, but we got through a lot of good things today. And I think the question that we as business owners need to sit down and ask ourselves is, what can we do to move from a customer service mindset, which I would say is good, but a little more transactional, into being a customer experience provider and making it more relationship driven, and just look at what things we can do to offer our customers an experience throughout their lifetime with us. And I think that'll help move the needle from whether we're a 3-star or 4.2 star in our own minds, and move that up for us. And I just want to say thank you, Rick and Alicia, for coming out and talking about this. I love getting to talk to you guys and hear this information. I know there's a whole bunch more things to cover, and I'm sorry that I wasn't able to be there with you guys. I'm sure you had a lot of fun. I'm sure you ate some good food.
Next time, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So did you do whiskey cake? Is that what I heard?
We sure did.
Yeah.
We did biscuit for breakfast too.
And Norma's.
Zach likes biscuit.
Yeah.
So.
And we tried a place called Sidecar social, which was really cool.
And of course, we did Summer Moon.
Yeah, Summer Moon.
Hello.
Yeah. I mean, we just
Texas
ate our way
tour.
through Plano and Frisco.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we did.
So just to let you know, we had an extra 12 questions that we didn't get to. So
Holy
we're gonna have to have Rick
Round
come back
two.
for
That's
sure.
fine.
Yes.
We'd be happy to do it. Yeah, we'd happy to be back for sure.
I appreciate it. We really appreciate you guys coming out, Rick. It was great to be able to get to spend some time with you. We want you to come back to film some more stuff. And I know Alicia's coming back on the 11th. We're going to be filming some more stuff. So everybody stay tuned, download the Poolman University app, and you'll be able to get all that content right there. Hope everybody has a great long holiday weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we
Memorial Day
will
weekend.
catch me and John Wednesday on the Instagram Live, and hope you have a great weekend. Catch you later, Spider.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Pool Nation podcast, a member of the Pool Nation family. You can listen to us live every Friday here at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. You can find us at Pool Nation or poolnationpodcast.com, on Facebook, or on Instagram at pool.nation. And to find more info about Pool Invoice, the billing software built specifically for the pool industry, go to poolinvoice.com. Before you go, this is what the pool industry has been waiting for. PoolmanUniversity.com. It's the first platform dedicated to learning the swimming pool service and repair industry. A pool service community where you can connect and find videos on business, service, water chemistry, and repairs. See you there at PoolmanUniversity.com.